Hey, what is going on everybody, and welcome to Fantasia. For today, we're going to be jumping into another session of Epic 7 Out today. Got some more balance adjustment showcases for you guys. Now this time around, we're going to be taking a look at Aki to see what he does post balance adjustment, and we'll see if he actually does make a big impact despite how small his changes are. Now, this is the first of its kind episode here where we're showcasing these balance adjustments, and if you want to see more of these types of videos, do let me know in the comments down below. I'm also just looking for general feedback. I'm trying this video series out, one, because it feels like every time a balance adjustment comes out, I end up taking a few of the units and using them in my RTA matches, right? Because they fit my playstyle, or I just want to test them out. But most of the units that get these adjustments don't really get to shine, or don't really get a spotlight in my personal videos because they don't fit my playstyle, right? So this is a great way, I think, of allowing me to showcase these units to you guys, and so you guys get a better idea of what these units do post balance adjustment to see whether or not they're actually worth using or even worth building, right? So let's go ahead and dive into Aki here. A quick overview of his skills and what changes were made. His skill 1 and his skill 3 are his main damage dealing skills that inflict burns, and you detonate them for a ton of damage. You can soul burn either one of them. They both cost 20 souls to ignore effect resistance. If you soul burn the skill 1, it'll also extend the burns by 3 turns, so you get a 4-turn burn that you detonate for a ton of damage. Now the base damage of both the skill 1 and the skill 3 are decreased, which is a good thing. It sounds bad on paper, but it's a good thing because it prevents you from proccing the passives of things like Perfumer Bibulus or a Genoa or something of that sort, units with HP thresholds that you don't want to get under, right? And then they increased his detonation damage from all the burns, and his skill 3 actually got reduced from a 4-turn cooldown to a 3-turn cooldown, meaning you can now go skill 3, skill 1, skill 1, skill 3, potentially allowing you to just 1v4 the entire enemy team, right? And we're going to go ahead and showcase him in just a second in Arena so you can see how deadly he can be. Now, to understand how you can soul burn so many times, you have to first see his artifact, the Ritual of Sealing of Flames. The effect res doesn't really matter at all here, especially if you're going to be taking first turn anyway. But the second part does. The second part lets you at the start of the battle get a barrier equivalent to a certain percentage of your attack for 2 turns. Mine is 102 because I'm at 21% in terms of my artifact level, right? The main thing here is that when you soul burn with Aki with his passive, you can see that he will consume his HP instead of using souls. So if you have enough of a barrier, when Aki goes to soul burn, he will consume the barrier instead of his HP, and because his HP is still above 51% of his max health, you get to soul burn repeatedly with him for free, with no souls whatsoever, right? And the stronger your barrier is, the more times you can soul burn, because the less of your HP you'll consume, right? You'll just be consuming purely barrier for like the first soul burn or so. Which is going to be really crucial for how he works. Now, he is currently running a torrent set and speed set here. The main thing with torrent set is that it decreases your health by 10%. Okay, the damage increase when attacking actually is bad, but we don't really care about that. We just want to decrease our max HP, and you want to make sure your attack is high enough so that when you go to soul burn, and your barrier is going to be huge, right? But because your HP is so low, when you take a percentage of this HP away, it's not going to consume as much of the barrier. So that's essentially how this works. Lower HP, higher attack, better gains, right? This is the gear that I'm currently rocking on my Aki, just a torrent set here. You want to make sure you have as little HP substats as possible on your pieces. This is why some people just opt to go for effect resistance as a 4th stat, like on their weapons or something. A little bit of effectiveness is also fine, but it's not needed. You just want to get rid of any HP possible to make sure you can soul burn as efficiently as possible with him in combat. But anyway, enough yapping, let's go ahead and see him in action. Okay guys, for this first match here, it's going to be a little bit weird because we are going up against a relatively fast team, and there is evasion in the form of RNL. That's going to be kind of tricky to deal with, but we're going to do our best here with Zio and Requiem Rowana. Zio isn't going to be able to soul burn because the Bellion's on the other team, but Requiem Rowana should be able to jump up in combat readiness and try to push back my opponents just a smidge. We probably won't be able to hit the RNL because of evasion. However, if I am able to push up my Pirate Captain Flan here, that would be kind of nice, because then I can push up my Aki as well, right? So we're going to skill 3 with the Zio, we're going to skill 3 with the Requiem Rowana, and even though Bellion's there, it won't stop us from soul burning with our Aki, right? So there we go, we actually do manage to hit our opponent. Unfortunately, they actually hit us back with a little bit of a counter, so Aki loses some of that ability to do shenanigans here. I could go for a skill 3, but I'm kind of afraid that the Bellion's going to counter again, so I'm just going to go for a skill 1 here and bomb that Boss Arunca. Now, I am going to go for a, let's go for a skill 1. Let's go for a hit onto the... I think we can go for a hit here onto the Boss Arunca, right? Do a little bit of this. Boom. Look at that detonation. Pretty solid. And now we can soul burn that skill 3. I'm going to go ahead and hit this Bellion here. Now, Aki has kind of done his job right now at kind of deleting 2 units. It was a little tricky this time around, right? But we did manage to snag those 2 kills. RNL is going to be going, very unfortunately, but we're going to go ahead and hit her, see if we can... Oh, we got lucky and got a burn there. Very cool. So I guess we'll just take out the Holy there. And there you guys have it. Got quite lucky there with the Aki hitting that burn. But even then, you saw how he was easily able to solo 2 units. Okay guys, for this match here, we have quite a speedy opener on the other side. Not the fastest of openers, but you never know with these defense teams here. ML Politis, right? So I'm going to be bringing in a Briarwitch Assyria and a speed imprint in the form of Tactical Archetype Koli. Briarwitch Assyria is also really nice because it prevents Notos from reviving if he's on Holy Sacrifice, and she has the ability to strip the opponent's buffs, which is going to be great because if there are too many units with immunity, Aki actually can't strip them all and apply burns. Xeno is also here to decrease the evasion of all my opponent's units by 50%, meaning we don't really have to worry about the Setsuka on the other team. But let's go ahead and dive into this to see what we can do. Perfume Bibulus is going to be a little bit of an issue though, because she does give so much HP to the opponent's units, but we'll see how this pans out. I am just going to go for a skill 3 here. I don't need the full defense break or anything like that. I should have enough effectiveness for the Bibulus and the Notos too. So I'm going to be playing a little bit greedy here. Let's just go for a skill 3. Boom, there we go, very nice. And because we're on Renewed Will, we push up our Aki. Now Aki gets to go and we get to skill 3. I will honestly just get rid of the Setsuka first. We should be able to get rid of her no problem here with a skill 3. I am going to go for the skill 3 of the defense break and everything because she is currently not defense broken, but Notos is. And your defense stat at the time of being hit does matter when your burns are inflicted. As you can see, 39,000 damage there. Crazy stuff. So because the opponent's defense broken, Aki actually does more with his burns. So we're going to go for a skill 1 there. Boom, into the Notos, down he goes. Right, let's go ahead and soul burn into the, let's go for the, you know what, let's just go for the Perfume Bibulus. Why not? Let's just do it here. Boom, that's a lot of damage, okay, and look at this, guys. We can actually turn Cycle back into another skill 3. That is absolutely insane stuff. I will go for, why not? Let's just go for another skill 3, right? But we're so close. Let's just finish off the Emopletus. The Bibulus should be so close that we should be able to use Koli to come in and finish off if we need to. Alright, there we go. So unfortunately, we weren't able to just Aki 1v4 completely, but you guys can see how much damage is actually dealt there. And then you see there, the Perfume Bibulus being able to cleanse a little bit. That is something you do want to avoid at times. So Aki was able to avoid that, which was kind of cool. Unfortunately, Aki goes down before finishing off the opponent. but it is what it is, and we should still be able to win right there. But yeah, Aki's potential is enormous, and that was actually kind of satisfying, being able to turn cycle back into a second skill 3. Got another one on our hands, guys, this time with RNL on the other side yet again, but this time we have Bunny Dom to help protect the Aki from taking any damage. We also have Boss Arunka here to make sure that we protect Aki from single target attacks, and we have Zeno to decrease the evasion of our opponent's units by 50%, meaning that Setsuka and everybody else should be vulnerable, everyone except the RNL. RNL will be able to have 100% evasion, but hopefully we can deal with her through other means. Rather than just using Aki, right? But we'll see. Maybe we get lucky and we hit a burn. But Aki should be able to get rid of the other 3 units with no problem. So skill 2 onto the Boss Arunka. That is fine. Hitting the RNL with some counterattacks. That's good. But here comes the skill 3, but because she took an extra turn, Bunny Dom pushes up, and here's the cool thing. See, we do get feared, right? But Bunny Dom is on Doctor's back, so we get to cleanse, and we took no damage. That's the main thing we want, is to take 0 damage from our opponents to preserve our barriers so that we can use them for Aki's shenanigans, right? So let's go ahead and skill 3 here. Estelle does have damage sharing, so it's probably best to take care of the Estelle first in these kind of situations. The only problem is that she's normally built on counter set, so there is a possibility where she like attacks, but in this case we're fine. So I'm now gonna go into the Setsuka. Unfortunately, the Perfume Bibulus also has immunity here, so we can't really do all that much into her unless we turn cycle enough to go for another soul burn on the skill 3. So there we go. Setsuka is going to get healed here, that is fine. Aki does have the skill 3 that I can soul burn with, so I'm going to go straight into the Perfumer Bibulus this time around to get rid of that immunity and try to take her down. Okay, very nice. Boom! Look at that, guys. Beautiful stuff. And now, with just the Setsuka and this RNL left, I think it should be pretty easy for us to go in here and finish them off. We're going to go for the Setsuka first. I try to lower the overall evasion of the opponents here, and we'll never miss, so that's also nice. We do have a Vigor buff, increases our defense, which is good because Zeno does scale damage with defense, as you can see. Very nice. Can we hit? No hit there. Okay. That's all good, but yeah, look at that. Look at what Aki managed to do for us, guys. Absolutely amazing. We do land another burn on RNL. Very cool. Thanks to Zeno. Let's go for a skill 3 here. Right, decreasing the opponent's evasion is really, really nice with his passive. And now we see another skill 2, but look at this, guys. Bunny Dom able to protect the team once again. Super cool stuff. Alright, let's go for a soul burn skill 1 so Aki can finish the job. And there you guys have it. Another pretty clean match, right? Even though we weren't able to get the Setsuka there because the Bibulus cleanses. She's really annoying with that, but still able to deal enough to finish everybody off. Okay, guys, we have another match on our hands here with quite an interesting team on the other side. We got Mort preventing counterattacks, so no shenanigans with stuff like Setsuka, but who needs a Setsuka here when you have Aki, who can potentially take down all 4 of these units, minus the RNL, because again, evasion, but Aki's been doing kind of decent against evasion somehow, right? Let's go ahead and jump into this one here. We have Swift Flagbearer Sigrid leading the charge, and the reason she's here is mostly to strip any immunity buffs that could be on my opponent's side. Somehow we're outspeeding the RNL. I don't know how, but okay, I'll take it, I guess. We'll skill 3, push back our opponents here, and hopefully, ooh, all right. Not the greatest outcome, but you know what, it's fine. We did push back the RNL. Let's go for a Soul Burn skill 1 onto the Lady of the Scales. This should get rid of Lady of the Scales here. We're just gonna go for a regular skill 1, no skill 3. Boom, there you go, beautiful stuff. And now we can come in here with a skill 3. I want to try to get rid of the Notos as soon as possible. Mort is pretty far back in the combat readiness bar, so we should be okay. But because of the turn order that I soul burned in here, ooh, okay, it's a little rough, but it's all right. He's so low that we should be able to deal with him soon. Let's go for the Mort here. Right, technically at this point we should have another skill 3 ready if I started with a skill 3, but let's go ahead and just do a little skill 1 action. Should land a burn. Oh, never mind, he resisted, so down goes the Aki, but it's okay, because again, you're really just trying to utilize your Aki to take down some of the most important threats here. Even taking down something as quickly as Lady of the Scales did in this case was pretty solid, right? But Mort is pretty far back. Let's go ahead and just finish off the Notos here. I'm not taking any chances. I'm just gonna go for a skill 1 into him. There you go, beautiful stuff. Right, and because we have Bunny Dom, we should be safe against the RNL here. Takes an extra turn, but we cleanse everything. And there you guys have it, right? Aki, again, doesn't have to solo like an entire team. He can just be used in certain circumstances to kind of pick off a unit or two here and there, and it's usually good enough. The good thing is, though, that Swift Flagbearer Cigarette gets to take a turn here. Let's go ahead and skill 2 into the Mort. Take him out. Right, the Hikari should be able to finish him off. There you go, no Holy Sacrifice shenanigans there. And with the RNL being the last unit there, we should be able to push her back, and then Hikari can kind of finish the job. But yeah, would have liked to see like a little bit more damage kind of come out of Aki there. What would have been ideal is that my opponent actually went first here with the RNL, and then Bunny Dom gives the Vigor buff to Aki, and Vigor would actually give him additional attack, which would have allowed him to one-shot the Notos, right? But in this case, the outcome is still pretty good. Now, we can't do one of these Aki showcases without bringing along one of his best friends here, right? Bihu is one of the units that greatly supports what Aki does, because Bihu actually increases the amount of damage that you deal with burn detonations, right? So let's go ahead and jump into this one here, up against this RNL, which is a little bit spooky, but again, we have the Bunny Dom to kind of help us out here. Swift Flagbearer Cigarette kind of doing the same job she did in the last round, kind of just getting rid of immunities that might exist, and we'll see if we survive. We do. Built my Bunny Dom quite bulky to take on most RNLs here, but we do survive, right? And that's the main thing. Survive here, and we should be good with the skill effect nullifier. That is all great. Bunny Dom does get to cleanse the team now. So there we go. Boom. Fantastic. And now Swift Flagbearer Cigarette will go for a skill 3. And this should hopefully strip the barriers and stuff on the opponent's side as well. There you go, very nice. Some of them were stripped. And so at this point, we can easily come in here and deal with our opponents. Now, the great thing about Aki's damage being reduced is that you don't really have to worry too much about Estelle, right? So let's go ahead and just finish off the free run here. We'll just go a single skill 1. Probably should have started with a skill 3 actually onto somebody else, so we get the full turn cycle, but it's fine. Let's go for a skill 3 now into the Estelle. Ooh, into the Estelle and Perfume Bibulus. Let's go for the Estelle. See how much damage we do here. Did quite a bit to that free run, but I really want to see with Bihu's passive, right? Boom, 44k, guys. That is absolutely insane. And there we go, finish off this Perfumer Bibulus. Almost. The Lingering Fragrance is definitely helping quite a bit. We'll go for a single skill 1. Oh, we actually did land the burn, but she does cleanse because she is below a certain health threshold, unfortunately. Thankfully, though, we do have Bihu to come in and kind of guide us a little bit, pushing up the team. And again, as per usual, this is where Aki kind of, you know, falls, right? Now, there's a cool interaction with Aki where if you have Ruel, you can revive him, and it doesn't count as healing, it just counts as setting the HP back to full health. So you would actually be able to get Aki back and have him soul burn and stuff all over again, right? Which is kind of nice. Let's go ahead and soul burn this, just to make sure we get that target debuff onto our opponents here, and there we go. Look at those burns, guys. Look at those burns. So Bihu can still also be a very good support unit to help clean things up after Aki does go down. Alright guys, for this match over here, we do have another evasion unit on the other side. It's going to be that Afternoon Soak Flan, which is a little bit annoying. A lot of defense teams right now, and a lot of matches that you'll fight in RTA, tend to have some evasion unit here or there, right? RNL, RB, you have Setsuka, ML Bologna, they're just kind of all over the place. But for this showcase, we're going to try to fight these types of evasion units, and one of the easier ways to go about it is obviously to seal them, to lock away their passives that usually are tied to their evasion skill, and we're gonna do that with Shepherd of the Dark DN here. So we're gonna go ahead and strip everybody of any potential immunity buffs with Shepherd of the Dark DN's skill 2, and then we'll skill 3, Seal, and if this finishes off the After Soak Flan, that's great, so be it, but if it doesn't, that's even better. Okay, very cool. So now what we're gonna do is use Ludwig here. He's just mostly here for support. He's also here to help us generate a bunch of souls for the Aki as well, with his own artifact. So boom, we got the silence, we got the blocks and everything too, and now let's go on a little bit of a rampage here, right? So Aki can start off with a skill 3. I'm just hoping that my opponents don't counter here, knock on wood, right? You could bring the Great Mortelix as well instead of something like Abad Ludwig, could prove to be very useful. But let's go for a skill 1 onto the Perfume Bibulus. She is the only one that can really cleanse the team. She is sealed for right now, so boom. Okay, we can go for another skill 1 here, so let us go for let's go finish off the Perfume Bibulus, why not? Right, here we go. Okay, and we have another skill 3 that we can use now, so let's go for the skill 3, let's go for the Rinok, because she is faster. And look at this, guys, you could just easily pick off everyone on the other team, just incredibly fast. Now, of course, you don't get the extra turn there, because Aki's passive, you have to consume his own HP for him to get the extra turn, but it's okay, that is what teammates are for, and so our Abad Ludwig can use the remaining souls to finish off our opponents. And so yeah, you can have a pretty strong little like control team with just a single DPS in the form of Aki, but just be careful of units that are immune to debuffs. Alright guys, we've been showcasing Aki with quite a few aggressive teams, right, trying to showcase how he can just go in and kind of one-shot everybody that's on the field, but you can use him in rather slower teams, especially if you couple him with a unit like Ruel, because again, how her revive works is it doesn't heal. When she revives, she just essentially sets your HP at 100%, right? And so we'll hopefully be able to see a little bit of this in action here. Unfortunately, this time around, we're going to be kind of attacking into this Lua here, so we'll take a lot of fixed damage, and we'll probably, yeah, won't be able to do much here, but we will be able to showcase Aki in the sense that we can revive him, right, with the Ruel, and we'll see that happen very, very shortly once we actually decide to take a turn here. There is a Dragon Bride Senya on the other team, which is kind of important to note because Dragon Bride Senya is one of those units that Aki does kind of bypass a little bit, right? So Zeno is actually on a really tanky build right now, just kind of using him as bait for the opponent's attacks and also to sort of counter the Setsuka here a little bit. So let's go ahead and skill 3, bring back the Aki, see if he can loop around and deal with our opponents just a bit before we end up all dying, right? That would be very tragic here. So we have Empyrean Ilanov. We'll be protecting the Zeno, right, with the barrier. Very nice, very nice. Okay, and Zeno here, he is blind, which is kind of sad, but let's go ahead and just skill 1. Let's go into the Dragon Bride Senya. There we go, nice little frostbite there. Okay, so now we finally get to use our skills on Aki, and here's the cool thing about invincibility as well. It does nullify all damage that you take, which means if I come in here with a skill 3, look at this, he's invincible, he doesn't actually use his HP to attack. And so this allows you to get a free soul burn in after you revive. And look at that, guys, a bit of a comeback strategy here. Let's go for the Setsuka because we do have the increased hit chance right now thanks to the Zeno. So boom, the burns, detonate that, wonderful. We can still soul burn here. Let's go straight into the Setsuka once again, because again, she cannot dodge right now. So boom, she goes down, and there we go. We can't take the extra turn again because that last soul burn was actually using souls. It wasn't using his HP. But what we can do is we could go for a little bit of a heal on either Aki or Zeno. I feel like logically we should be keeping the Zeno alive, right? So let's go for this. Just an extra body on board for us. So she is going to go for the Aki. That is perfectly fine because he is going to be A-okay, nice and healthy. Let's actually use Zeno to kind of tank the Lua squad attack here. How about that? Okay, there we go. Got some burns with the Aki there. Okay, cool stuff. So now what we're going to do Oh, actually, we're gonna proc the Dragon Bride Senya. Hopefully not. Okay, look at that. Look at that giant berry on the Aki too. Unfortunately, if you're below half health, you can't use that extra barrier to, you know, use your soul burns, right? You can't soul burn with your HP. Yeah, as you can see here, no soul burns available, right? But we can just come in with a skill 3, and because Dragon Bride Senya has put this giant barrier on our opponent, we can just come in here, use a skill 3, and hopefully strip it. If not, it'll still be a considerable amount of damage. Okay, there we go. So, still enough to take down the opponent there. And you can see that everyone else is healing, but Aki isn't. Unfortunately, can't heal him up. Kind of makes sense. You don't want him to be able to soul burn, like destroy your opponent's team and heal in the process of doing that, right? So he does end up going down. He is rather fragile, as you guys know. And we'll just have to finish off this match again without Aki, but you guys understand. He kind of does what he has always done, right? His job, and then he pieces out. He just, my job here is done. And he actually does do something, unlike the meme. Okay, so we'll just have to wait out this Oath of Punishment, which I believe... Okay, yeah, she won't be able to do another skill 3, which is good. And so, yeah, tanky Xeno, guys. I actually kind of like this. I might actually keep my Xeno on this tankier build, just because it's working out quite well, and I feel like in RTA you can't really bring in like a damage Xeno, but having a tanky Xeno like this that doesn't focus on damage but just focus on staying alive and causing debuffs and some havoc is actually not too bad. Alright, we get a free soul burn here, because we're invincible. Alright, let's do that. Boom, okay, and then we get another turn. Let's go ahead and soul burn that. Should take down the Dragon Bride Senya there. So yeah, as you guys can see, with a match like this, you do have a bit of sustain, and in most cases, you can actually take Aki in with a slower team and still make him work, as long as you have a unit like Ruel or something of that sort to help keep reviving him, right? Keep replenishing him. But then again, technically works with any DPS unit in this slot. Okay guys, for our last little showcase here, you might have been noticing that Aki hasn't really been one-shotting like everybody all the time, and one of the reasons for that is your burns actually scale off your attack stat. So while I can actually try to squeeze more attack in on Aki, maybe have him a little bit slower, another way to do it is to give him an attack buff. So with a non-attack skill, you can use something like Silver Rain on a thief unit, in this case Swift Flagbearer Sigret, to give yourself an attack buff on the ally with the highest attack, except, well, the bearer of the artifact, right? So in this case, we're going to try to use Swift Flagbearer Sigret to boost up Aki here, and we're also going to see how much damage he can do against this team, this evasion-heavy team. We're going to bring in Xeno, of course, to try to mitigate that Setsuka just a smidge. We're going to need to probably take down the Lady of the Scales as well, and I don't know who's in the front line because currently the teams are a little bit scrambled up, right, for this defense team. I think it's Emperor Higher tends to scramble up these ranks. Okay, so we see Notos is going to be in the front line. That is okay. What we can do is go for the skill 3 here. I think that would be pretty useful. ML Politis also helps a little bit because we do have the ability to have the amount of fighting spirit that my opponent does, gains. So this ML Bologna won't be hitting us with like a skill 2, which is kind of nice. Alright, we do have the extra souls right here. Let's go for a skill 3, try to push back my opponents. Right? Now, the unfortunate thing in this case is that Notos is going to have that immortality here, and so I do need to kind of work around that. We do have an attack buff, keep that in mind. We do have this attack buff, which is kind of cool. Let's go for the Notos here. Everybody's feared, thankfully. Go for this. Boom. Very good damage overall, but unfortunately still not quite enough. I am going to go for a skill 1 here onto the Lady of the Scales. Maybe I should have hit the Setsuka or something, but I really don't want my opponent to cleanse. There we go. Proc the immortality. Now we can go for the skill 3. This will strip the buffs and take care of the Notos here, so we can get rid of him. So even through Lady of the Scales, we do have a chance of kind of finishing off some of our opponents here. Let's go for, because my opponent's units are so far back, let's go for the Lady of the Scales once again. Boom, boom, boom. 4 burns, detonate that. Very, very cool. And with my Xeno, let's see if we can maybe make some magic happen here as well. Let's go for the Setsuka. Nice Frostbite, got the Rage. Let's go for the skill 3. Got that defense buff as well. There we go. And got that rupture going too. Let's go for the ML Bologna here. Alright, very nice. Good job, Aki, landing those burns. Pretty sick damage. Let's just finish off the Bologna. She's a little faster than the Setsuka. And as you guys can see, yeah, even with Lady of the Scales on the other side, Aki can still do decently. You just kind of have to work around with your, you have to work around with your soul burns, whether you want the skill 1 or the skill 3. Just keep in mind that skill 3 is the only skill that he has that strips buffs, and so you gotta save that for immortality, you gotta save that for the units with immunity or with invincibility and all that good stuff. Alright guys, so let me know in the comment section down below what you think of Aki's buffs. Personally, I think that he's pretty good. He just got better at doing his job, right? Procs the opponent's passives a little less consistently, which is fantastic, avoiding things like cleanses from Perfume Bibulus and all that good stuff, while also dealing additional damage. It is kind of tricky to try to get an attack buff on him. Ideally you do, or ideally you get a defense break on your opponent to compensate for the lack of an attack buff. But yeah, I think overall he's a fantastic unit, and even if you don't 1v4 with him, that's kind of a win more situation, you still can trade him 1 for 1 or 1 for 2 with very high priority picks against your opponent. But yeah, with that being said though guys, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think of this type of video in the comments down below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.